restrictions you will face in terms of time limits, budgets, skill limits, etc. For example, you've got just for your research, you've got just about one term to finish it, right? Imagine, or at most 2 terms, you have to finish it. If you're going to do research which takes, for example, 1 year, that is not doable for you as a university student, right? Or if you're going to do research in a particular medicine, right, or finding a kind of vaccine for a specific virus, it needs budget. And if you're a researcher who does not have any budget or money, so it is not doable. You have to gain the support of somebody or a kind of an institution. Or skill limits, is it within your skill or no, you do not have the skill of doing that. If your proposal does not address these 3 criteria, your research won't be approved, right? So it should be convincing, it should be clearly articulated in terms of research questions, and it should be doable, right? Therefore, if that does not address these criteria, your research won't be approved by for example, the department of the university professors of that particular department or the managers of that particular company. No matter how exciting the research idea might be. I've had, a couple of students who have started to do a very good job, on some exciting, research titles, but they haven't been able to do that. Having exciting research idea does not mean that it would lead to a very appropriate proposal. How do I know I'm ready? I'm ready for what? For doing that, for writing the research proposal. Before starting the writing process, you need to ask yourself 4 important questions. If you can answer them succinctly and confidently, you are not ready. You need to go back and think more deeply about your dissertation topic. What are those questions? They are this, right? You should be able to answer the following 4 questions before starting your dissertation or thesis research proposal. You are at this stage. You have to ask these questions from yourself. The question of what, who, what, and how. The first what is this? What is my main research question? My main research question, what I'm going to do. For example, somebody said that I'm going to find the relationship between the students' language achievement and their motivation, for example. Or I'm going to apply this particular software in the field of language teaching and learning in order to see its effect on the students' oral proficiency, for example, right? So, what is the main research question? You have to find the main problem, the main point that you're going to do the research. And who cares and why is this important? You have to write your justification. Is it worth doing? Who cares about this study? Who are the people who will get benefit from this study, right? And why is it important? Is it something important or no? That is the same point that I mentioned, a couple of minutes ago regarding the value of the research. Is it worth doing? This point is, being stated in the section which is called the significance of the study in proposal. And what data would I need to answer this question? And how will I analyze it? The research design. You have to think about the methodology of your study. This what is related to your methodology. What data would I need to answer this question? You have to think about that. How are you going to do this research? What kind of data you're going to collect? Is your data, quantitative data or it is qualitative data? Is your design a quantitative study or a qualitative one? What are you have to specify this point. What are the relationship between the variables of your study? Are they going to affect on each other, right? Or no, they're going to have a kind of connection or relationship. You're going to check the relationship between these. These are very, very important, dear students. You have to pay attention to these questions first and before doing your research proposal, because it determines, the methodology or design of your study, whether your study is, for example, a true experimental study, a quasi-experimental study. It depends on the, for example, the groups you have got and the type of your study you have got. For example, do you have control group, experimental group? Do you have a treatment to do? That is when I said that finding the effect of something on something else. Or no, for example, that is a correlational study. You want to check the relationship between this variable and that one. For example, when you say, is there any specific relationship between the student's oral proficiency and I don't know, for example, electronic learning, English language learning, or the students' motivation and this electronic form of learning in coronavirus era, now the time that we are in. So these are the questions that should be answered first. And finally, how will I manage the completion of this research within the given timelines? Project and risk management. You have to think about that. You have to think about your limitations. You have to think about your timeline and time management. You have to think about the data gathering procedures. For example, you say that I'm going to gather this data in some schools in Iraq, but when you go to Iraq, you see that you do not have any connection with the managers of or principals of the schools, so you are not able to collect your data, and you're not, for example, able to do this study or collect your data within this particular period of time. For example, in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you have to wait for the other term, but while you do not have time to stay, So these are the questions that should be answered first. If you can't answer these questions clearly and concisely, you are not yet ready to write your research proposal. Unfortunately, you would not be ready to write your research proposal. If you can, that's great. It's time to start writing up your dissertation proposal, right? You should ask these questions from yourself. You are at this stage now. I've told you to find a topic for your research, and just, finding a topic actually is not the first step. So the first step is finding a problem in your area of interest. What areas of English language teaching and learning do you like? I told you at this point in previous session. Do you like to work on teachers? Do you like to work on learners? Do you like to work, for example, on learners' oral proficiency? Do you like to work on learners' writing ability? Do you like to work on learners' psychological issues? Do you like to work the relationship between the learners and teachers? Do you like to work on teachers' psychological issues? Do you like to work on teachers, class management issues? There are many, topics that you can work on. So you have to specify it in advance, all right? Think about it. So it's time to start writing up your dissertation proposal. Next, I'll discuss what needs to go into your research proposal and how to structure it all into an intuitive, convincing, document within a linear narrative, one after the other one. I told you that you have to follow a specific procedure within a specific structure of those 3 sections of introduction, literature review, and methodology. And there are 5 essential ingredients in research proposal writing, right? What are they? Let's see what are they. Research proposal can vary in style between institutions and disciplines, right? Different institutions may need different types of proposals. For example, universities also may differ, right, in terms of accepting different types of research proposals because they may have their own structures. In our university, Imam Reza International University, we have got a particular procedures for accepting the research proposals, and of course, this procedure, is accepted by is a kind of universal procedure which is accepted by many universities throughout the whole world. So I told you that for your proposal, you have to have those 3 sections in which there are some subsections which I'm going to talk about them more this session or next sessions. But here I'll share with you a handy 5-section structure you can use. These 5 sections directly address the core questions we spoke about earlier, ensuring that you present a convincing proposal. For each section discussed below, make sure you use headers and subheaders, right? Ideally numbered headers. You have to have headers and subheaders. Do not just write a kind of essay without any headers and subheaders, right? Titles, topic, titles and subtitles. So you have to include these headers. For example, you have to have first chapter. In the first chapter, you have to have introduction. In the introduction, you have to talk about the statement of the problem, and also you have to talk about the significance of the study, research questions, hypotheses, limitations, and the like. Top tip. This is a very important point. Use MS Word styles to format headings. In MS Word, in Microsoft Office Word, a software, you're familiar with it completely and you know how to use it. You can format your headings. There is a place you can format your headings over there. This will allow you to be clear about whether a subheading is level 2, level 3, or level 4, right? You have got level 1 heading, level 2, level 3, level 4, and sometimes more than that. But normally we do not have more than 4 in proposals. So you have to make it clear. For example, introduction is the first level. In the under the introduction, we will have some other subheadings like statement of the problem, sometimes background to the study, sometimes statement of the problem and then significance of the study and the like. Additionally, you can view your document in outline view. In this way, if you arrange, according to this Microsoft Word format, then you would be able to see it in an outline view, which will show you only your headings. This makes it much easier to check your structure, shift things around, and make decisions about where a section needs to sit. You can also generate a 100% accurate table of contents using Word's automatic functionality. Make sure that you write your proposal under this format. If you generate your proposal according to this Word's automatic functionality, therefore you would be able to change it very easily, and the table of content would be structured accordingly. This is very important because everything would be placed in its own right, in its own place. And all right, let's talk about those 5 ingredients that I told you. Ingredient 1, title header. Let's talk about title header. Your research proposal's title, should be your main research question in its simplest form. Your title is your main research question, right? For example, when we say the effect of, using picture on students' vocabulary development, this is the main question of our study. because the main question with this is the title, and this title shows that what is there any significant